So today we're going to look at the solution to homework problem 4-4. There's a couple of interesting strategies that we're going to put to use here. So in particular, we're looking at using patterns. We're going to review mirroring. We're going to use a form of projecting geometry to make the side views easier. And finally, we're going to look at using the offset tool to make the side view here, in particular this sort of head-on view showing the thickness of the sheet metal. It's going to be much easier with that tool. Alright, so what we're seeing here is a little bit of reference geometry I've put down. So this is a different layer I made that's not going to show up on the final drawing, but it's just called reference here, and this you can see is the outer dimensions of that plate. And you can see some of the basic geometry already used here. So it's like the circle and this vertical line. And so what we're going to do is use this reference geometry just to keep track of what we're doing, and it'll make it easier to draw the intermediate parts. Alright, so drawing your attention to the outline, I want to first sketch this inside shape without fillets, and so we can quickly get the majority of the outline that we can then use the mirror tool for. Okay, so we're going to use our line tool for that, and we'll start on the end, and we're going to go up. So each of these tabs is 1.5 inches, so we can use polar tracking here to go upwards. That'll go, and then we just have to type the distance. Same thing here, we know that distance is 1.5 inwards. Then we want to go 5 upwards, 1.5 in this direction, and then of course we can just use snapping for that. So now we have this outer profile. So you'll notice I've avoided drawing these outlines here because we can fill those in afterwards once we do the mirroring. Remember, our goal here is not to make the lines or make any drawing objects overlap. At this point also we can see the value of this little diagonal here. It gives us a convenient midpoint of the circle, so if we have mirror symmetry along the middle or rotational symmetry, we could take advantage of that. So one example is I can mirror these guys, select my middle point, and now I've got this hole up here ready to be mirrored. Okay, so we want to fillet all of the corners, and that is a radius of 0.25 in a bunch of different places. So we're going to start by setting our radius to 0.25, get M for multiple, then go through and, sorry, I'm going to set trim to, we will continue filleting these inside edges. Now, this happened here because I had fillet set to no trim mode, which is useful if you need to connect two dissimilar lines, but you don't want to have that line be overridden. So for example, let's say this line was a hidden line. If I do a fillet on here right now, to connect the two, maybe this, if I don't want this to be hidden line here. So it has to assume it's going to take one or the other. So if I leave trim off, then it preserves the original lines, and then I can manually cut away the ones that I want. So anyway, so that aside, we're going to undo that, and then a quick fillet. And now we have these inside curves. And so finally, we're ready to do this mirror. And I want to select again this midpoint, go up like so. Now I've got these outlines here. So I'm going to connect the outer lines. Be careful to connect, not to my dimensions here. And now I have most of the outer shape. We'll notice we still need to include 4 more fillets. So this is easy to do if we just do that now. And you could, if you use the no trim mode of fillet, actually do that with reference geometry, and it would create this edge without deleting anything. And then you just have to decide, is it worth, trimming everything away or not. Okay, so the last part of this first view is just to do this pattern. We'll see I've already got the shape with the center mark, and so I'm just going to type array. We want rectangular, and now we can use these grips here to get the approximate number that we want. And then we'll just consult back to our drawing here. So we're looking for a pattern of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a spacing of 2 horizontally and 1.5 vertically. So here we can manually make that spacing 2. I can click the grip to get rid of that extra one, manually make that spacing 1.5, and then we're done.